In today's breaking story, Epstein's brother just dropped a sudden bombshell on Donald Trump. That's right, this entire Epstein issue for Donald Trump really is just beginning. And now this issue is getting even worse.
This is a serious issue. The highest volume of calls into my office have been about Epstein. People want the information. They don't want things covered up.
What happened to the lawyer who got Epstein his bizarrely lenient plea deal when he was first arrested in Florida? What happened to the lawyer who got him that bizarrely lenient plea deal? Well, Trump hired him to be his own lawyer. What happened to the U.S. attorney who gave Jeffrey Epstein that bizarrely lenient plea deal? Trump put him in his cabinet in his first term. Well, who then prosecuted Epstein a second time when he was brought up on federal charges? That was the SDNY line prosecutor who Trump inexplicably fired last week. Who was in charge of the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons when Epstein then killed himself in federal custody? President Donald Trump. Who bragged to a reporter about how much Epstein seemed to like women on the younger side? Who said Epstein was a lot of fun to be with? Who bragged that he was friends with Epstein for 15 years? Who flew on his plane at least 7 times? And who now says that everybody needs to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein right now? Answers there are Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and Donald Trump.
And now 10 years into this, we get, Epstein's, that's all fake. Here's the MLK files that you wanted. And you go, really? Fuck you. Really? You bury the Epstein files as if that's not bad enough. You're going to lie to our faces. Tell us it's a Democrat hoax.
Meanwhile, Candace Owens continues her fury against Donald Trump.
Trump arranged a party at Mar-a-Lago for those young women that were involved in the Calendar Girl competition. And George Herenny claims that Epstein was the only other guest that he was told to invite to that event. Now, to be clear, it could very much be the case, in the way that Trump's describing, like people who got caught up in this, whatever it is, that people who were not aware of exactly what Jeffrey Epstein's purpose was. Maybe he approaches them, he approaches Trump, he approaches people that have a business that he could hide a trafficking sort of organization in. Trump would be that kind of a person, right? You've got young women, you've got pageantry, okay? And he says, I'll give you cash, or I'll introduce you to somebody that will give you cash, inject cash, because he wants access to younger women. That's a thread here that I think would make sense because Trump is just not clear.
And now, in today's breaking story, Epstein's own brother just dropped a shocking bombshell on Donald Trump. Take a look at this.
Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein. And Mark, from what you know, from what you saw, how close was your brother to Donald Trump?
They were very close. They were good friends. Jeffrey used to sometimes tell me things that Donald said that were funny. I know Donald was in Jeff's office a lot back in the 90s. It's documented that Donald flew on Jeff's plane a number of times. I don't know if they ever checked, but I know Jeff flew on Donald's plane also. I don't know if they've ever looked at his flight logs. And they were good friends. I flew on Jeff's plane. It's known I was on the plane in 1999. Flying up from Florida, and Donald was with us. And we were all joking around. They were good friends.
So, tell me about that. I know there was something on that flight that you remember about your brother and Trump. What is it?
Well, it was a funny thing. We were talking, and stick a pin in that. A couple weeks or a week before that flight, I was talking to Jeffrey, and he told me that he was talking to Donald, and he asked Donald, how come you sleep with so many married women? And Donald's answer was, because it's so wrong. Now, amongst guys, it was a funny line. And then when we were on the plane a week or two later, Jeffrey asked Donald the same question. I know he did that for my benefit so that I could hear Donald say it. And Jeffrey asked him, how come you sleep with so many married women? And Donald said, because it's so wrong. Now, it's a funny line, but the answer is not the poignant part of the story here. The question is the poignant part. Because for Jeffrey to ask him that question, number one, he would have to know that Donald slept with a lot of married women, so and he probably got that information from Donald. And
it
also,
implies a confidence.
That's not the kind of question you ask a casual acquaintance. how come you slept with so many married women? That's a question you ask a good friend that you can get away with asking those kind of questions. So that gives you an idea of how friendly they were.
So, long story short, we now have countless witnesses, countless reputable sources, all claiming that Trump and Epstein were in fact super close best buddies. We now know it's a complete lie that Epstein was kicked out of Trump's club for being a creep. Donald Trump and Epstein, they were best friends. And now all of America is finding out.